So David Elliott getting things underway here at the Adelaide Oval. Both sides undefeated so far. The Eagles in second position, the Double Blues in third spot. And wouldn't they be keen to continue on the winning way? They've had a very good start to the season. Chapman gets the first touch or so. Chance for Kluzak under a lot of pressure. And the umpire sorts out a free kick. It's going the Double Blues way. This is Williams, far side of the ground. Gets on with it. Awkward kick into the right forward pocket. They charge out after it. No one able to take clean possession. Eventually, it's Freeborn clearing the zone. Just a short chip, though. Kluzak got the hand pass away. Over there was Baker. Short passes on by the Double Blues. Over there is Johns. Can't control the football. Eventually, Morford gets a hand pass. Puts Devine under a lot of pressure. Kluzak is there as well, out of bounds.
The Double Blues have not quite lined up in the way that they named themselves. They've got Damien Kitchke back picking up the bulk of David Neimann. Corey Gray remains in the back pocket, but they've changed that half-back line, and Andrew Johns is starting in the centre of the ground. Wonderful conditions at Adelaide Oval. Couldn't be anywhere else really on a day like this. Sweep it towards the centre of the ground. Now there a chance through the midfield, the Double Blues, to put it back in. Arnold is the player. He got it from Trimboli, who came sweeping through the middle. This now is Sutherland up towards the goals. A big chance down there for a player in Copeland. Couldn't pull it off though, and the first score of the game is a behind of the Double Blues. Started positively. We're just a couple of minutes into this, the first term.
Sturt at 1 point. The Eagles yet to score. Magnificent conditions here at the Adelaide Oval. Spear. Good kick. Negri the man he's after. He had two to beat. Lena was one of them. Toe poked off the ground. The Eagles up into the attacking zone now. Opportunity for Corey Gray, who got the ball to midfield. Now Sutherland, who's ducking and weaving on centre wing. Chips it out wide, and the mark almost taken. No, Obbs couldn't quite control the football. Eventually Kluzak picks up clean possession. Drop punt toward left half forward. Charging out after it is Phillipou and also Lennon, the two number 17s. That'll be an interesting duel, and Lennon named originally Stephen in a back pocket. It looks as though he's lined up at centre half back.
I think that Hayden Bunton has matched them up physically, body for body, because Lennon has gone on to the very athletic Phillipou, as you say, and Kitchke's down, picking up Neimann. A quick entry now for the Eagles. Here's the cumbersome Damien Kitchke. Gets around Neimann. Now there's the advantage, you see, just a little edge in terms of the agility. Sutherland gets it away. Good work from the Double Blues. The options now on centre wing are very few and far between. Ball was smothered anyway, but this is Johns. A chance to put the Double Blues into attack. Dodges and weaves. Finds Lennon. Sweeps out the handball to the run of Corey Gray, who's run off very, very well. This is Richter. The Double Blues have opened up a spare player. Baker charges. In the middle of the ground is Brooks. Protection provided by Baker, but Obbs goes in towards the centre corridor area. Nickel up over the top. This is Arnold. Was he tripped? The umpire says no. He's on the correct leg. Brooks can't get it away. Geddes can, settles, has a look at the goals and nails the first one for the Double Blues. A very positive piece of play, and just reward for some good play through the midfield from Johns, Geddes, Brooks, and finally back with Geddes for a goal.
Yes, good work there by the Double Blues. A lot of players did touch that football from the back pocket when it started, and eventually Geddes pinged it through from about 35 metres. That was very promising signs there from the Double Blues, Stephen, and they lead. Geddes gets his first. The Double Blues 1-1. The Eagles yet to score.
Andrew Geddes at centre half forward. Zilla, Stephen gets it out of the middle. As far as Corey Gray, there's a certain air of confidence about the Double Blues at the moment. Hands off to the run of Lennon. Plenty of open spaces, and it's like a bowling green out there at the moment, Adelaide Oval. The Eagles are a bit lax at the moment. Lena, plenty of time, and in the end didn't have much because he was closed in on. Nickel paddles it up. The Double Blues are barging and bustling. Well done though by Rogers. Plenty of time this time at half-back for the player in Devine. He's got Phillipou. A little bit of time also in towards Neimann. Goes over his head. The very dangerous Andrew Taylor. Was he pushed? No free kick coming, but the umpire finds the second one. And David Neimann will get it for a push in the back. 35 metres out. Somewhat of an angle. And if anything, the breeze will be coming from his left to right. With a slight northerly blowing at Adelaide Oval, but just takes the edge off the warmth, and it is a perfect day.
David Neimann, one of the best last week for the Eagles against Central.
It's a great shot, right it with him. Off the side of the boot, and just sneaks in for a behind. So the Eagles get their first score of the game. Very handy for them to be able to have someone like David Neimann working down through that full forward area while Romy Negri does the rucking work through the middle of the ground. Gives them an enormous amount of options. They've lost Lawrence Shackey. Just pop Neimann down there and all is fixed.
Christopher Threadgold now getting on with the job and kicks toward half-back. Pinpoint accuracy finds Lennon, who's on Phillipou. Got the job on that player at centre half-back. There's Lennon's kick to midfield, looking for the man coming down a long way. That was Geddes. Well done. Gets it off to Underwood. Underwood from dead set in the middle of Adelaide Oval. Beautiful kick. Terrific lead by Arnold. Good signs here for the Double Blues in the early part.
They can find some space for Arnold. He moves to it very well. Takes up a fair bit of it himself because of the size of the frame, but he really is fairly active for a big man, and the kick, as you say, was just perfect.
6-1 last week. He was a key. Oh, wouldn't they love him to kick 5 or 6 today? Left footer, long one. That's a big kick. Terrific kick. Big start here for the Blues. And Jody Arnold gets his first. It's 2-1 to 1 point.
Former St Kilda player Jody Arnold has played most of his football in defence since being here, but when shifted to full forward last year was very, very good, and he's maintained that spot. Beautiful kick, wasn't it? Andrew Geddes is a centre half forward for them. He's only lightly framed, but I suspect that they're working on the mobility principle. He gives them plenty of run.
He's not as tall as Nicole, is he? 2-1 to 1 point. The Double Blues, a sparkling start. Once again in the centre, Negri from the left and also Leanett from the right. They go in hard. One of those players is King, number 40 for the Eagles. First upper from Lobethal. Free kick. Getting a good look at him right in the middle of Adelaide Oval. Good looking kick up toward Taylor territory. He was besieged by Double Blue players. According to the umpire, that was a push against the Double Blues. The advantage not really there for them though. King sweeps the hand pass out. Intelligent play by the youngster. Well done to Pays. Pays a long kick, and Pays is just offline to the left-hand side. So that advantage there, Stephen, not as Sturt would have liked.
The push looked to be from Taylor, but I think that well, it was a bit high, and certainly the push was on. The umpire called play on when that ball spilled free. This is Chris Threadgold. Surveys the scene. The Double Blues had clustered in the centre of the ground and then fanned out. One of the options out in the far side is Lennon, who started the game well. I must say, reminds me of former number 17, Brenton Sanderson, in his movement. Johns always covers a lot of ground. That's very dangerous, though, Andrew, as it comes into Jason Ziller. A little bit of time, wasted it, though. Just fell into the path there of a player from the Double Blues in Trimboli, who'd worked back well. This is Taylor now. Shovels it out, but only as far as Corey Gray. Johns has worked back well. Kitschke, a little bit of time. Short pass. Far side of the ground is Damien Ofton. He has a paddock. One of the options is Threadgold. He decides to go with the leg, which isn't bad. The run of Geddes and Sutherland, but well done, though, by the player in Freeborn. Takes a good mark. Thumps them back into attack, and a good chance for Phillipou. All alone to take the mark. The Sturt defence had run off. Phillipou stood his ground, and when the turnover occurred, he was just there all on his line. Sam Phillipou. 35, perhaps 40 metres out. Starting to find a little bit of form. 3 last week, and has been very influential at centre half forward. Not a bad kick from Sam either. Straight through the middle, so the Eagles get their first away. Sam Phillipou, a good start for him, and as Mark mentioned a moment ago, his duel with Bruce Lennon was really going to be a very crucial one to the outcome of this game. 5
points in it, and as Stephen summed up well there, Lennon nowhere to be seen. In the end, it was Leanett who had just come in, but of course it was all too late. Lennon was just wandering back to his position. Sam Phillipou able to take it and bang it through the middle. So the margin 5 points. Stood at 2-1-13. The Eagles 1-2. We played 9.5 minutes first quarter.
Centre bounce. Negri way up over the top, and that's a long way up there because Brett Leanett's not short by any means. A little bit of smart work in there by the Eagles. Jason Ziller. This is Totham. They're just starting to get fired up now. Phillipou with a chance to get 2 inside 30 seconds, and he's bottled it. They're a good side, aren't they? Just when they're challenged by the Double Blues in the opening 5 minutes of this game, they bounce back very smartly to get their second on the board. Sturt at 2-2. And in fact, Sturt at 2-1. The Eagles have hit the front there, 2-2.
Totham's hand pass, a good attacking one, and Phillipou from 35, 40 metres, never, ever in doubt. Phillipou 2 goals, good start for him, and within a twinkling, Stephen, the Eagles are back in it.
2-2 to 2-1. Just 1 point, 10 and a bit minutes into the first term. On a picturesque Adelaide Oval. It is a fantastic ground. Negri, good reflex. The Eagles through the middle of the ground. Another exit for them, this time through Jason Ziller. Way up forward it goes. Taylor did the crumbing work at the front of the pack. Here's Lennon under a bit of pressure now with a couple of goals to his opponent. Underwood to the far side of the ground. The run was provided by Justin Brooks. Turns his opponent inside out to get on the left leg. Does well towards Baker. The thump away comes to Morfitt, who looks to be doing some following duties. Gets it away to the player in King or Devine. Devine it was. To half forward he goes and finds Stuart Totter. Fluent work from the Eagles. One of the options is Phillipou. The other one is Taylor, and a third one, if you don't mind, is Neimann. So they're everywhere up there. The dispatch from Tottenham was just perfect and found a very good lead from David Neimann. Plenty of spaces, and Neimann did well to find one of the openings. Away he goes. The head stays down. Good-looking kick. The umpire a little two-step and then puts 2 fingers up to indicate that Neimann gets his first. The Eagles get their third, and while they were challenged early in this game, all of a sudden they've bounced back, and it's the sign of a very good, strong side that some of that centre work particularly has elevated in the last couple of minutes, just to give them some exits from there and set up some goals.
Yes, I was going to say, Stephen, the boys in the centre for the Eagles have been very proactive, haven't they? Hyperactive, in fact, because it's been zooming out of the pivot, and the boys up at half forward and ultimately at full forward haven't let them down.
The Eagles are 3-2, Sturt at 2-1, 12 minutes into this, the first term.
So a good fight back here by the Eagles after initially being under a bit of pressure. Morfitt, speaking of pressure, was under a lot of pressure there from Sutherland, the little double blues rover, one of the smallest players in the Sturt side. Number 8 for the Eagles is Jason Ziller. As we mentioned, a magnificent day. Good crowd too. A lot of expectation and anticipation about this game. On paper, I guess the Eagles would have to start a very short price favourite, but the Double Blues can take them on with confidence after 2 wins from 2 matches. Kluzak, chip pass, not a very good one in the end because Underwood's got it at centre half back. So he'll clear this away, and the Double Blues working it away from half back now to the far side, and Johns draws the play, gives it to Richter. Very experienced players, both of those. Johns to Richter, Richter up to right half forward. Over there is Nicole. Chance now for Freeborn. Freeborn goes across the face of goal. Here's Pays now from half-back. So they repel that attack and turn it into something positive. But centre wing, Scotty Morfitt's got the football.
The familiar left leg of Morfitt into the corridor it goes. Run has been provided by Chapman, who's playing in the centre of the ground and getting some important touches early. Now, if you're quick, Paul, you can get a one-on-one situation, but he's taking his time. And you can only surmise from that that he believes that he can kick the distance. Slight breeze will be coming from behind him, gets him close to the man on the mark. The ball's going to carry. Good decision, Paul, because it's carried right through for your first goal. The Eagles get their fourth, and as Mark mentioned, 1 minute or 1 second, it's down in the Sturt attacking zone. The next thing they had runners providing options and switch sides straight down the ground and ended up with a goal. So very quick work from the Eagles. 13
points the margin, so they've turned it right around here, the Eagles. They can switch it on at any time, and now the Double Blues need to concentrate. They've got to work things away from the centre. They've got to be a bit harder perhaps at half back. It's 4-2 to 2-1, 26 to 13.
14 minutes in. Negri doesn't get off of the ground, and so it allows Brett Leonard to get a thump away. Middle of the ground, out it goes for the Double Blues. A chance now into their attack, but Nickel does very well, doesn't he, to work back and get himself a possession. Paddles it along the ground. The follow-up from Geddes is excellent, though. Around the body he goes. One-on-one there down there. Well done by Spear. He is a very, very underrated but very effective player. Schwarz brings it out. The pressure from Leonard is good. That doesn't stop Romano Negri from taking a good mark at half-back. Plays on. The run of Rogers. This is Jason Ziller. They just seem to be able to set something up when they want to. Pays. So many spaces at the moment for Schwarz. Short he goes. Wastage because it goes straight to Corey Gray.
So Corey Gray from half-back now. Little hand pass across to Threadgold, who's got his hands full on Taylor. Won't that be an interesting duel? Good kick to Richter territory. Well done by Chapman. He zooms it back in again. and Stephen Ziller on the end of it. So Stephen Ziller about 55 metres out, pretty well directly in front, gives it his best shot. It's off to the left-hand side, and Neimann's taken the mark in the pocket.
I think he might have just about been looking for Neimann then. It looked like he hauled himself into the kick, but it was so pinpoint in the end of David Neimann that you'd have to give him the credit for finding him. The only problem now for Neimann is that he's on a very, very acute angle. The breeze will help him, so if he just sits it up at the right post, it should come back.
So David Neimann already has one. Here he is, left forward pocket, 20 metres out. Bang! 2 goals to David Neimann, and the Eagles continue to dominate as they have over the last 10 minutes or so.
Not a bad replacement, is he, in the full forward line? The Eagles lose Lawrence Shackey with a leg injury, which we're told will only keep him out for 1 week. But then they're able to place Neimann down on the full forward line. They lose nothing in the rucking department because Romano Negri's in super form. And when complemented by little players like Jason and Stephen Ziller and Chapman, who started beautifully, augurs very poorly for the Blues at the moment, whose start was positive. They're now under some real pressure.
Yes, the margin out to 19 points. The Eagles comfortable at the moment. Early stages of the game, though. Brooks had it, then lost it. Now a chance for Trimboli. Long kick toward centre half forward. Well done by a very good player, Spear, at fullback. A class act. Very good mark in defence. Kicks out very wide. The accuracy was good. He was looking for Kluzak. Well done, though. Chips around the corner, does Obst. Into the path of a teammate. But there's Eagle players all over the place from that back pocket. Kluzak's the man who eventually gets rid of it to the far side of the ground. Now Phillipou, who's come down a long way from centre half forward, gives it across to Morfitt. Not sure whether that was the best option, holding the ball.
Good decision too, because Morfitt had it. And then somewhat staged for the free kick, but good decision because he was really in possession and holding the ball. Andrew Johns has worked up a bead of perspiration early in this game. It's warm out there. He finds Leonard, who interestingly is playing ahead of the game rather than on the back pace. Slips at the wrong time and is caught. Now Chapman shovels it out wide. It didn't have much to go for. And in the end, I think a deliberate action to go to the line. Far side of the ground. The Eagles have really burst out of the blocks after a slightly tardy start. They're 5-2-32. Sturt at 2-1, and you just get the impression that if the Eagles side really start to put some defensive pressure on Sturt, they can cane them here at the moment because they're just playing their own game at the moment. They're not too concerned about what Sturt are doing, playing their own game of keepings off. This is Rogers, pumps it back into the centre half forward area. In the front position and doing very well is Morfitt. Squeaks it out to a player in Taylor. They're there in numbers. They're absolutely everywhere as Page thumps it up to the line. I think it's gone through. It has. So Page playing beautifully in the first part of this game, gets his second. And the Eagles, it was just too easy through the middle part of the ground. In fact, Page gets his first, and the Eagles get their 6th.
Well, as you said, Stephen, they are everywhere, aren't they? Look at this. There's not a Sturt player in sight. Quite extraordinary. Pays from 50 metres out and has got his first for the game. And the Eagles really dominating over the last 10, 12, 14 minutes or so. 1 goal to Andrew Page. The margin now out to 25 points. So they've got to stop here, the Double Blues. They've got to concentrate. It's 6-2 to 2-1.
Time for Sturt to man up one-on-one and try and stop the rot here because the Eagles' momentum is up. And here goes another exit from centre square. Stephen Ziller, one of the most damaging players in recent times. His performance in last year's grand final was absolutely outstanding to win him a Jack Oatey medal. His players improved enormously as Corey Gray surveys the scene, then goes to the far side of the ground. The options provided out there by, I think, Damien Obst. Swings around in the wide arc. There's not a single thing. The crowd in the end insisted he should be running too far. Romano should have taken it. Richter gets it away to Geddes. Plenty of time. Short pass. Not good enough, though. Didn't find the player. Gee, there's some scrappy work in there. Finally, it comes out towards Chapman, who took a couple of short steps, interestingly. Now the Double Blues work it out wide. Kluzak, he's got a runner if he gets it free. He does. Anything can be set up for the Eagles now. Number 20 to number 10 is Rogers to Tottenham. Short pass is fantastic. Couldn't quite come off for Neimann. Working back in there, though, is Jason and Stephen Ziller. But the umpires found a free kick, and it goes again to Corey Gray, who started well. Corey
Gray now to Johns from Box Hill, formerly. Long kick by Johns out very wide. And it's far too wide, out of bounds on that eastern side of the ground, way over there on that wing at the Adelaide Oval.
Defensive pressure from either side is not really strong at the moment, is it? They're pretty much playing their own game, and and trying to get themselves established rather than really putting it on the opposition at this stage.
Yes, and at the moment the Double Blues are just struggling. They started so well. The signs were good there, Stephen, weren't they? A couple of quick goals, and then all of a sudden, as we said in the call earlier, it just appeared as though the Eagles just turned into second or third gear and just turned up a gear.
Yes, like a prize fighter, just up the ante when they needed to. Zilla runs it towards the line. The Eagles were challenged, if you remember, a couple of rounds ago against Glenelg in, I think it was round 2 at Football Park in a night game. They gave Glenelg a 7-goal start, and they looked very ordinary for a while, the Eagles. And all of a sudden, something ignited, and they decided to get on with the business, and they ended up thumping the Tigers that night. Similarly, a tardy start. Now, the umpires found another free kick down in the forward zone. It'll go to David Neimann, who already has 2 and is providing a real thorn in the Sturt defence. He's a good-looking athlete, isn't he? He seems to have trimmed down a bit as well. Either that or he's wearing size extra shorts to try and give us the impression that he's lost some weight.
He's improved his kicking too over the years.
Certainly has. Let's have a look at this one. Put it to the test. Away he goes. The umpire likes it, I think. The crowd certainly do, standing behind. Not a bad start. 3 in the first quarter. I bet he'd be happy with that. The Eagles go happily along themselves as a unit to 7-2. Sturt a 2-1, 38-13. The margin is 35 points.
And Damien Kitschke would be disappointed with this. And
just a little bit soft, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, yes, that was. He's an experienced player, Kitschke, and he's got the job on Neimann at this stage. Neimann already with 3. Taylor's the other dangerous forward up there, and Phillipou as well.
So the Eagles 7-2, Sturt a 2-1, 21 and a half minutes in. Time for the Double Blues to really grit their teeth and man up in that centre square, because they're getting a thumping in there to Rogers. Plenty of poise. You can bet that his one take will be on. Even though he's tackled, he gets it away to Nicol. They work so well together, don't they? Chapman, good take on the half volley by Morford. He's on his favourite left leg and wheels around. Romey looks to be having a run at centre-half forward at the moment. Just a bit much pace from Corey Gray. The pressure is good from Romey, though, and forces the ball to the line for a boundary thrown on the far side. So not bad work from the big man, who didn't allow an easy exit from that area, and a chance for the Eagles to go back into attack once more.
Eagles lead by 31 points. Big advantage in the early stages of this game. Johns, big knock, and it's out of bounds once again. 20 is Obst, and that's Kluzak. So a good crowd here. 22 and a half minutes, first quarter. This is a big test for the Double Blues. And I know they were approaching this with a lot of confidence. Phillipou over the top. Underwood gets a clearing kick. Not all that far, though. Well done by Rogers. Tried to keep it in under control. Over the top is Brooks. The hand pass looking for Leanett. Needs some support. Zilla comes at him now. Williams has got the run of the football. Obst as well. Far side of the ground, decides to go for a run. Has one bounce, then swings it toward the right forward pocket. Arnold down there. He's got a chance. He's over the top of his opponent. Over there is Devine as well. They try and bottle it up. Eventually it comes to the side, and Rogers, magnificent football, and Morford clears it away.
What an understatement. Absolutely wonderful snare and dispatch by Rogers. A real stamp of class. This is Tottenham. If they set this one up from here, they can thank Andrew Rogers. Player out there who gets it across is King in game number 1. They thump it into the forward zone. Great courage from Jason Zilla. It's given the Eagles another chance, and Sam Phillipou with an opportunity to get his third. Doesn't get it. Hits the post, and for some fantastic work from Rogers and some courage from Jason Zilla, the extra inch to the left would have been just reward.
Have another look at the courage here. Zilla.
Not as though it was a small body coming at him, was it? Because Damien Kitschke's probably 105 kilograms.
Oh, absolutely. Here's Sutherland. Haven't seen a lot of him so far. Number 13, the young rover, chips into midfield. They're going forward here. And the Double Blues now with a big chance through Copeland. Haven't seen a lot of him as well. Into the forward pocket. Kicked off the ground. Oh, the Double Blues have got it behind there. I thought that might have been a goal. And it was Brendan Baker, left of screen there, the man who hacked that out of midair. 7-3 to 2-2.
So just about the first foray into the forward line for Sturt. At least past the 50-metre line for the last 15 minutes. Comprehensively beaten since the 10-minute mark, or perhaps even the 5-minute mark. This is Negri to Pays, who's playing on the opposite wing, mind you, and has swapped sides at the moment to come and get a touch of the ball. Andrew Obst is giving him the run around at the moment. This is Gray, fairly consistent. Underwood. The run of Lennon is good as well. Now, Brooks plays his position beautifully in the centre. He just sat back in there and provided the option. The run now is provided by a player in Trimboli. Thumps it down. In fact, it wasn't Trimboli, it was Copeland. Gets it down towards the full forward area. This is Sutherland, who, as we just mentioned, is a little quieter. Baker, good, intelligent kick to the head of the square. Way up over the top goes Geddes. Can't take it. Jason Spear is there. Sutherland tries to make something out of nothing. The double blues are persistent, there's no doubt about that, but so too the Eagles' defence. Gee, I think Sutherland just about had his head ripped off there. The umpire says in the end, though, it's holding the ball. Well, the Sturt crowd don't like that because they thought that Sutherland should have got a free kick.
Well, they worked so hard for it, didn't they? In the end, they just made that vital mistake. Swars chips it to Rogers, two very experienced players. Well, but done by Devine, giving the shepherd. Away go the Eagles again towards centre half forward. Zilla into the air, so too Corey Gray. It comes to the side of the pack. Now they've got a bit of a chance here, the double blues. This is Copeland, number 15, runs down toward left half forward. Two to beat down there. Gee, that was a poor option in the end because one of them was Negri, who's about 6 or 8 foot tall, for heaven's sake. That young boy didn't have a hope.
He's covering some ground, Big Romy. In fact, he's now covering more because he's lying on it. Stephen Zilla gets it from some good work from Negri.